Venezuela's strongest earthquake in more than a century has struck at a time when the country was only beginning to stabilize after years of economic turmoil. The economy has contracted by nearly 80% since 2013, weighed down by sanctions, hyperinflation, corruption and chronic underinvestment. Although recent easing of US sanctions had helped lift oil production in Venezuela to nearly 1.2 million barrels per day, inflation remains elevated and shortages of essential goods continue. With nearly one-third of the population already dependent on humanitarian assistance, the earthquake threatens to deepen an already severe economic and social crisis. The disaster is expected to place enormous pressure on Venezuela's weak infrastructure and public services. According to early U.S. Geological Survey estimates, economic losses could range between $10 and $100 billion, potentially matching the country's entire annual economic output. Hospitals, electricity networks and water systems, weakened by years of underinvestment, now face an unprecedented challenge. While major oil production and refining facilities have largely escaped structural damage, widespread power outages across several central states have raised concerns over whether production can be maintained. The impact has been concentrated around central Venezuela. Operations at the El Palito refinery slowed due to power outages, while the Moron petrochemical complex was temporarily shut as a precaution before restarting after safety inspections. Nearby ports and power plants also faced disruptions affecting logistics and refining activity. However, authorities say there has been no major structural damage to key upstream oil facilities, limiting the broader impact on the country's energy sector. The resilience of Venezuela's oil network is significant, given the country's growing role in global crude markets. Venezuela currently exports around 1.25 million barrels of crude per day, with the United States importing roughly 558,000 barrels daily. India, around 427,000 barrels, Europe close to 169,000. Together, the US and India account for nearly 4/5 of Venezuela's crude exports. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez has declared a state of emergency, mobilizing the country's public and private healthcare systems and launching large-scale search and rescue operations. The United States has pledged humanitarian assistance, including rescue teams and medical support. However, rebuilding will require billions of dollars at a time when public finances remain under severe strain. Now, according to insurance broker AON, insured losses are expected to account for only a small fraction of the total damage because insurance penetration in Venezuela remains extremely low. And that means much of the financial burden of reconstruction is likely to fall on the government, businesses and affected communities, making the country's economic recovery even more challenging.